Nah. And they are attacking first. I still think even with all of the changes, split is a bit defender-sided, but certainly not as much as it used to be.
Well, I think your questions have been answered as well. This is much more of what we saw, I guess, initially when we were looking back, say, a few weeks ago with TSM. Like, you got Drone back on the Phoenix, you got Hazed back on the Sage as well. So this is looking a little bit more standard, I guess you could say.
Everybody's gone back to what they played before. Like, this is what I mean. Like, TSM recently have been changing up who's been playing what. This has been their de facto composition for pretty much the whole time. And as you can see, if you're looking at what's in inverted commas meta, what TSM playing, it ain't it. There's a lot of things that are bizarre. Drone playing Phoenix the whole time. It's certainly not conventional by any stretch, but it worked for them up until it didn't. So the fact that they've sort of come back to this means that they want to play to their style. They don't want to change it up to what they're trying to do. They just want to play that TSM. The Cypher is missing. Like, Cutler's not on it.
That's the one change.
That's a bit of a problem. The double smokes is the interesting one. Double controllers is... But if you're attacking first, you might not need to Cypher all that much, but we'll have to wait and see. Could bite him in the ass, certainly.
I like the idea. Just go all-out attack. Don't lose enough rounds and it matters. However, it's not going great in the pistol once again. As we do see them... Actually, in fact, they got off to a very good start, I should say. Never mind. It was them losing the force-ups. This time, though, it's looking a little bit better for the side of Bloom. sSef already getting such a quick push back around. Doesn't hit the shots, though, onto Cutler. And in fact, Cutler gets a kill onto Kaplan. Maybe there's still a chance that they can survive at the back of this site, but they're actually just going to kill him straight through the wall. Hazed comes up with 2, though, and that could be huge. Unfortunately, his heal is gone. Has to hit the headshot, and he does as well. Big clutch from Hazed. We saw a big round from him in the last map as well that came out of absolutely nowhere. Now he's won his team the pistol.
Great start. I think every round that you can get on attack, it's going to add up nicely. You would expect them to pick up this round next. They have, in every single case that we've seen so far, lost the round following pistols. So it's... Oh, no, wait, sorry. That's not true. They did lose the first one in Haven, but they didn't lose the second. I was thinking that because of the shorty kill that came in. But regardless, we are seeing Bloom Force. And the Force that they did in the game against Haven did work out for them quite well. So this is something that I think TSM needs to be careful of if they're expecting it or not. They could have started with first blood, but weren't able to finalize the kill onto Roca. They are very much playing a bit gun-ho currently.
Now the paranoia going to be thrown out, but I don't think it connected onto anybody, and that makes these cleanup kills very easy for TSM, although that's gone wrong. He's not expecting anybody to be there, but Leak's aggression will also be punished. He, in fact, has moved off the Sage, but it has been picked up elsewhere. So I do like seeing... This is one of the maps I feel like Jet is just so effective with those aggressive peaks that you can take and the ability to dash away. And I think that... Well, I've been spoiled by watching too much Mixwell, and it just makes me want to see a Jet more often on Split. sSef here, though, Ryan... I guess do some damage. I don't really see how he wins this.
I believe he's got a stinger and a dream. He could do this. The least he could do is take out some of the guns. He has been spotted. And this is a nice position.
Gonna bet money on
this right-hand side. I do not, currently. Yes, I'm glad that I made that decision. But it was a nice try. He had a stinger and a song in his heart. You can't say fairer than that. He's got to go for it. But now they can fully...
It's a good thing you're optimistic.
They can't because they forced. Ooh, that's difficult for Bloom. And this is not a good start, you know. They want to be running in with the momentum that they had on Haven, of course. So being 3-0 down, which I would say is still quite likely. Not set in stone just yet, but still quite likely. Would be the perfect start for them. And TSM quickly shown that they have sort of got that Haven loss out of their system. They want to bring it back, and a great start on Split would certainly ease a bit of the tension.
Yeah, it's a possibility that they went in a little bit cold in that last map, but I feel like that's not so much of an excuse you can give them when Wardell gets 30 kills. Like, no. He's normally the man that you look to on the squad to drop the numbers, and he did drop the numbers. And, well, that was probably one of the main reasons that match was close. Smoke thrown, but they're just giving a bit more of an angle over the top, and you can see this is a much more of a sort of cagey round. I think TSM realized this is a real chance to just build up economy. They've got a fair few rifles in this one. It's not so much the SMGs anymore, so they don't really want to be losing anything. I do like this aggression, though, from Leak. The shorty up close. They haven't actually pushed through the dark cover, though, and realistically,
oh, no.
should be screwed. And, well, it's close, but unfortunately, he's not standing quite close enough.
I think now the plan's going in, and it's going to be a pretty lethargic retake, I think. Actually, never mind. Roca's brought out the Sheriff to get a frag. He's going to have that angle watch, but he still gets the dig headshot to Hazed. It just was too far of a distance to confirm the kill, at least. Wardell is able to make sure that no trade is going to happen here. No, sorry. sSef is maybe wanting to try and replicate that success, but it's not looking to be a successful retake, at least. Just maybe get a couple of frags, bend the economy a little bit. But the point I was going to mention is that Bloom have changed up their roster quite a lot when it comes to the agents that they're playing. You've got Leak moving over to Jet, you've got Kaplan moving over to Omen, insky going from Brimstone to Sage. It's a bit of musical chairs going on for Bloom, and I'm curious to see how that works, because really, if you do so well on Haven, like we just saw with those particular agents, which looked fairly balanced in the composition that you're running, why change it when it's going so well? That's the interesting take.
I guess a lot of teams do move away from a Sova, though, when it comes to split, and that was something that you see quite often when it comes to Haven. So it might just be down to even comfort. Hazed. Oh, he's just about going to get out of there, because you don't want your quote-unquote healer going down. Then again, you do see a lot of players lurk with Sage when it comes to the attacking side. It's not so much a sort of support agent. Kaplan, though, has managed to get a little bit aggressive around the ropes, and that is going to keep them in the lead in this round. Looking to set up, but they're actually not prepared for Leak. And that shot is sick. Both of them hit through the wall, and now only 2 remaining. Butler, he has to be a little bit wary. Paranoia will at least give them a path onto the side. But this is the aggression we talk about from Roca, just pushing in, taking a risk. It may not pay off, though, as now both Cutler and Drone have found frags back in return. Leave him in a 3 versus 2. Oh, no. Drone makes it just 2. And this is starting to fall apart. A real chance for Bloom is starting to dwindle here. The rotation begins to come back from the remaining couple of players. I don't think they would have expected to even be in this scenario. And in fact, the remaining players have actually decided to double up, and I like this. They're going to use the dark cover to gain some control. Make a little bit of extra space, and a headshot from Drone. He just got nuclear in this round. 4 kills. He's wiped out the remainder. And while the mistakes this time made by Bloom, I think are going to bite them quite significantly.
It was just funny to see him try and hop up to try and reach the operator on the high ground. Like, I can't reach. But yeah, like, why would you take this player off of Phoenix? He looks so good on it. 5 ultimates available for TSM. They're 4-0 up. This is kind of what you expect to see. And very quickly, Bloom can have a pretty sobering time on split if they're not careful. They do have the lead advantage with that win on Haven. But right now, TSM looking more like TSM than certainly they did on Haven. There's still a few ultimates available, but Wardell gets first blood to Kaplan like that. An exceptional start.
Yeah, again, they're looking to just try and keep this one clean, but winning both opening picks onto the A side. I'm not even really sure what can be done here for the remaining players of Bloom. Depending on how much they actually have in this one, they may even just consider saving, as we'll be gaining at least a little bit of extra cash into the next round, and with the juggling of a few weapons, they can probably get another buy. The thing that worries me, though, especially for teams that are, I guess, a little bit newer, is a round like that you let slip away, especially when it was going to be your first round on the board. That can easily spiral out of control. So I'm hoping we'll see Bloom get back onto the board quickly. Otherwise, TSM, well, already doing well on the attacking side, might just make this a blowout.
sSef. Cheeky little frag on the Haze. Ooh, the operator bodies him, but doesn't do quite enough. But Wardell with the Sheriff is still able to confirm the frag. It's a bit more damaging. But you're right, like, Bloom really should have won that last round. Like, they had a nice opportunity to go into, like, I think it was like a 4 versus 2 or something ridiculous like that, and end up losing. It was nice play, it was a nice execute and a nice hold up a retake for TSM. Like, the way they played that was, you know, cerebral, to say the least. Like, the way that they played around it was super clever, and it really caught Bloom out. But we just saw, like, what Bloom could do. It's just been a quieter start, and I think that might be one of the reasons why they did so well on Haven, right? They came out of the doors super fast, super crazy. TSM struggled to keep up. And before they knew it, they were trading rounds left, right, and center. It was awkward for them. This kind of lead-up for TSM is going to be a nice buffer for them to relax and know that they've got this game in the bag.
A much better start to this round, though. Leak will find the opener. Subroza going to clear out mid and the ropes using that orbital strike, but it's one of those positions that because ropes is so difficult to get out of, it can net you a free kill. Unfortunately, in this case, it hasn't. And he's actually almost playing this as a bit of a lurk. He's still got a couple of smokes, but I guess if you still have the Omen elsewhere, it's not so much of a problem. They're going to bring Wardell back into the action, which I'm sure the side of Bloom won't be too happy about. And Subroza, no, he looks away! Oh, double timing. Oh, God.
It's like both players are really unlucky with their timing, but Drone isn't being unlucky so far. His Phoenix has been great. Running back dedicated, so he has another go at it, but Leak is holding the tight with the operator. Roca's getting involved with the Empress. Is forced to back out to site, so there's a nice little crossfire between the 4 surviving members of Bloom. Only 2 left, but it is Drone and Wardell. Wouldn't say it was necessarily balanced. There's still an ultimate available for Bladestorm if they want to use it, but that's spike control. Wardell has it all to do. Never mind.
Nice shots from sSef. Gonna net them that round onto the board. That all-important round. As said, I wanted to see them get on there relatively soon after such a strong start for the side of TSM, but still felt like that round could have easily swung the other way. I do love seeing the Empress board, though. I think it's like the ultimate clutch ability to just have basically everything you need to turn yourself into a tank. So Roca
it's Super Saiyan, isn't it?
Utilizes that. Pretty much. It is pretty much. A bit more purple.
Bit more purple. Still cool, though.
Here we go, though. Wardell. Flash through. Much more passive stance. That's one of the things that we almost talked about on the defensive side of Haven, was the ability for Bloom to actually get aggressive, get in the faces of their opponents. And this time they've been a lot more passive, and it hasn't really been working. There's the one way, but sSef is only good for one. Subroza with an important trade, and now Drone is going to use all of his abilities just to heal. Guy from above. Like they've tried to pull in a secondary operator. He's not normally the man to hold on to that gun. In fact, in this case, it's been a complete slowdown, and the problem being that wall is about to break. Will be a sneak through. I think Roca realizes that there's multiple angles that need to be held, but this is a little bit more spammable. He's looking for a gap, but there's nothing to be had, unfortunately. Teammates maybe trying to give him a little bit of room to work with, and in fact, Roca's going to go pushing a free kill. He's going to go for the peek back. It's awkward, and actually, Wardell shoots into the dismiss, but he doesn't know there's a second player behind. It doesn't matter, though. It seems like the rotation's gone the wrong way. Roca is very confused as to where his opponent currently sits, and I don't think there's anything that can really be done. Subroza just walks into the hands of Leak, and again, it's these audacious plays from Roca that just win rounds for his squad. He's 9-4, top of the board, top of the server. He's been phenomenal.
He's just been running through TSM when he starts to get on a roll. That's the, you know, epitome of Reyna, right? You get a kill, you snowball. And that's kind of like the feast or famine that comes in with that agent. And I think Roca has been like that kind of player. You look at Wardell when it comes to how to play Jet. I think Roca's shown us that Reyna is certainly more meta than people may give her credit for. And so it's been crazy to see that come to fruition. Subroza could have got a nice shot in the back, onto Roca when he was in B main, but took the wide berth rotation. And in this little 1v1 engagement with the operator, like Leak gets the kill, but Roca's able to kill up a double kill. I can't talk because Roca's just taking the words out of my mouth.
Spike's here.
I was worried that maybe he wouldn't be able to be as aggressive on this map, but he's definitely proving wrong. However, that trade from Wardell could definitely make things interesting. The spike retrieved as well. I see Subroza already managing to get into ropes, but insky is more than aware of it. That operator once again is going to put another into the dirt and leave just 2 standing. And with the knowledge of where they are, I think it's time for TSM to maybe switch things up and try and find some space elsewhere.
The awkward thing about Split, though, is that it's a pretty long, laborious rotation, and you've got a Cypher waiting for you there. He doesn't even need to be on site to hold that site. That's Cypher in a nutshell, right? So this is going to be a bit of a gauntlet, psychologically demanding, but not maybe when it comes to the bodies they have to deal with for TSM. At the end of the day, there's going to be a Cypher there waiting. 30 seconds left on the clock, so at some point they have to explode onto the site. So something that now Bloom is probably expecting. They're still barreled up onto A, really holding it very passively, very deep, as you can see from the minimap. So now it's up to sSef to see what he could do if he could hold off. Time is very much not on the side, and he has a nice little off angle. Could catch Wardell out.
Ooh, okay. That's made things interesting. Wardell has to go for the spike plant. You can see there's an attempt from Kaplan to deny it. He finds the kill elsewhere, and now it's on to Wardell. The clutch maestro, he checks, but maybe more of a half check. Unfortunately, it's not quite going to be enough. A nice attempt. I'm quite surprised, actually, that you do see the Cypher eventually go down. I think those one-way cages are just so awkward to play against, but sSef not quite able to connect his shots onto Hazed. Did make the round at least a little bit more possible than it probably should have been.
It was a nice try. It was very little, I suppose, that TSM could do in this situation. But this is very different to Haven, because Haven was like, they would trade rounds. Bloom would win one, TSM would win one. Bloom would win one, TSM would win one. Now there seems to be a lot of streaks going and a lot of momentum built. The economy is still good, or at least it is for this round for TSM. No operators available, no ultimates available. Things are looking pretty good with the double operator lineup for Bloom. They're pretty much set, and they have some aggressive ultimates to boot. Another Empress available for Roca. Insky gets a nice pick onto Hazed, changing up the position, and these operators are going to be difficult. Subroza's going to push into this, but Roca's there waiting. This misses at the right time, just to get out of there. Doesn't get traded, which is probably most important.
It keeps them in such a strong position at a 2-man advantage with Subroza gone as well. The drone's definitely had his moment. They're starting to wallbang these players out of position. They do both escape relatively unscathed, I say that, but Roca's on his last legs, just going to have to leave. But with sSef already rotating in for support, with all his utility still holding the B site for any rotations, it comes down to what is a fairly stacked mid-defense, and sSef, in fact, just makes the decision to fall back instead. However, they could still clear out these angles. Timing's going to be everything here, as there's still a man towards the ropes. I think they're spotting the corner of that wonderful Cypher outfit. They know he's there, but it doesn't matter. They say knowledge is power, but it doesn't work every single time. 5-4, a round converted for Bloom, and wow, that's now 4 in a row for them. It seems like they've come back again strong.
And there's just an engagement, really. Like, they clearly knew where sSef was. They knew that somebody was on the corner that insky's looking at right now. But they still lose 2 people and gets traded eventually by Wardell, who then dies shortly afterwards. These are just fights that Bloom should not be winning. Their aim is on point. TSM just fluffing their lines just a little bit, and that's really all the space that Bloom needs to just get in there and just wreck TSM's plan. So now they're coming back into it. It was like 5-0 before. Now it's looking to be 5-all with how this is going. Leak is going to be watching this, but has to deal with a 5-man push coming through the smoke. Don't know how he's going to deal with this one.
I thought he might risk a shot, but he doesn't. Instead, just opts to fall back, and likely means there will be an afterplant situation. I'm pretty sure that at TSM, they were hoping to at least get 1 kill and steal a weapon away. It makes things a little bit awkward. Speaking of awkward, Subroza now boosted up on a wall. I don't think he expected that to happen. But it does leave the defense for now blocked out, and the slows being expended as well by Hazed is going to make things awkward. Nice shot from Roca. insky as well. And even still, TSM are clinging on. These are rounds they've stolen before. They're looking to do it again, but Kaplan finds an all-important frag, and there's nothing that Drone can do to hold on. A strong retake. Fire can only deny for so long. They are going to even up the scoreline, 5-5.
It wasn't a good look for Bloom very early on in this game, but have a good look at the kill feed. Center of your screen. 5 maps for TSM, 5 maps for Bloom. It would be crazy to sort of see TSM being 5-0 up and maybe lose this half 7-5. They are attacking, so there is a little bit of respect you can sort of give that Defender is a little bit nicer sided, I suppose, for Split to an extent. But you've got to say, like, TSM started off this map so well, but it hasn't really come to fruition in the last 5 rounds. But Bloom have played exceptionally well. Big round when it comes to guns, big round when it comes to ultimates. And yet again, TSM have all that pressure on their shoulders to try and do something.
Well, they're going to utilize the wall to try and give them an angle into heaven. Leaks here once again. Now, they managed to get quite far last time without any real weaponry, so they're going to go for the same play again, and, well, similar results, at least in the initial stages. The worry for me is, on Bloom's side of things, it's not going to be anywhere near as easy to get back in this time. They're facing off against not only better after-plant positions for the remaining players of TSM. In fact, they've fallen out of the sites and just looking to try and cut off any sort of rotational positions. Drone also in a strong corner with his flash as well. Now looks to try and help out on the side. Cutler in a great position. Just going to cut off one more. Wardell combines. Now it leaves Leak. Does manage to get 2. The Blade Storm doing a fair amount of damage. Just going to try and tap the bomb and bait them in. Subroza's killed off another though. And he can't quite dance his way out of that one. Strong round from TSM, maybe finding one of the holes in the defense for Bloom, and they are going to take the lead and at least equal the half. And as you sort of mentioned, this is a map that you do sort of give over to the defense. So, again, they're not in a bad position, but at the same time, we kind of gave them a similar feeling in the last map, and they didn't manage to close that one out.
Yeah, you don't want to see these teams take the small advantages that they can get, certainly not when you're looking at a team like TSM, who's touted as being one of the best in the region. That retake hold from them, though, was pretty exceptional. Like, the positioning was really good. The way that they baited and controlled the maps for each other to try and get an easy little frag here or there, it really does help. It's been surprising to see TSM be put under their paces to this extent. But you do have to remember that they are a real deal team, and I feel like to an extent they've started to catch Bloom's number a little bit more. So I want to see how they could sort of finish off this half at least. If they could go with a little bit of a lead, that'd be good. And that's a bit of an awkward one. Roca gets a kill onto Drone, but is traded by Wardell. There is a resurrect on the attacking side if they could get there. But you can see Bloom is keeping a very close eye on it.
Oh, that's awkward. Subroza this time, it's the same orbital strike we saw previously, but I think this time he had the knowledge that there was someone in the ropes. It's so difficult to escape, and, well, speaking of escaping, there should be nothing there for Leak. It's not quite going to be the kill for Wardell, but I don't think he'll mind Subroza's helping hand. This is the first time we've actually seen them manage to truly dominate the ropes position. That's something that was almost on lockdown. They're getting aggressive, they're getting confident, and they're going to wipe this last round in a matter of seconds. 7-5, a strong attacking side in the end, but after a 5-0 start, I definitely still see some hope for Bloom with that comeback.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, they just need to have a bright start on this attacking side. We could very quickly see these scores being tied up if they can get the pistol round and a round following. Wardell picking up the shorty straight away is an interesting move. He's going to be playing fairly close on A, where it looks like Bloom are looking to stack towards B, at least to begin with. And this was TSM's map pick, right? So this is a map that they feel comfortable on. Going into halftime with the lead is going to be a nice fit for them. They aren't looking the brightest team in the world as we sort of expect from them. And, you know, if you want to be the best team in the North America region, you need to be putting these games to bed. And the fact that they've been struggling is a bit of a concern. But if they can win out this best of 3, they aren't going to really mind how they got it. They're just going to be glad that they got that over and done with, because this has been really difficult for them. Bloom really putting them into their paces.
Smoke's down.
As you mentioned, both teams wanting to get off to a strong start. Thus far, we are 3 for 3 for TSM in pistol round, so I wouldn't be holding your breath too much. And with Wardell's ability to not only get up close and personal, but also escape using the dash, I do fear for anybody trying to make their way into his position. Interestingly, though, heavy stack on the other side of the map. Now, he does only have 2 bullets. So even if he hits both, this should still be the A site for free. So you can tell that TSM are more than comfortable to go for this retake. There's the first. Can he escape? He can. But they are going to be hunting him down. He gets the reload off, though. So another couple in the chamber. They haven't actually managed to get as far as I thought they would. They needed to clear him much quicker. And a second for Wardell. That should not have been allowed. Bloom needed to do a little bit better in this scenario, and because of that, the cavalry has arrived. The rest of the team are in position, and insky has everything to do a 1 versus 3.
Going up to high ground heaven, it's completely free that he could maybe catch them off. You are seeing TSM give a little bit of space because there isn't enough time to see insky go to another site. The flash is going to be a good one. The spray is awkward for the Sage, but Drone gets his third, all because of like Wardell's play. He really should have been traded, should have been punished a lot earlier, but that was a gamble that paid off for him. He's that kind of player to be able to do stuff like that, so nice to see it working. But Drone as well, and having a closer look at the kill feed, has come to life a lot more, being on the Phoenix on Split, and certainly what we saw from Haven at least, it just wasn't the same kind of bright spell game that we sort of know and expect from him, because TSM have been trying to change up how and what agents they play in particular. That's an important pistol round for them to win. They're building up their lead a little bit, and Bloom's chances of taking Split are starting to dwindle, but we're not done just yet.
Yeah, in fact, we're not even done in this round. They're going to go and invest into this one. A few SMGs. That's one hell of a start. Is it insky or insky? Have I been butchering his name the whole time?
I think it's insky. I saw somebody verified in chat very briefly as I had a look, because you guys are super cool and been spamming some super nice stuff, so thank you. I think it's insky, but I might be wrong. I will double check. Tell me, chat. If we're wrong,
someone like tweet us. Someone who is knowledgeable and I can trust, tweet us. There's either at Ryancentral or at Tombizz. Yes, I'm plugging myself. You're going to have to deal with it. Drone, Hazed, combined, but those trades are back thick and fast. The heals even available. Give them much more of a chance. And these 4 spy rounds, well, if they win this one, they would have been pretty much 50-50. That's been something they've been able to do. Suck at pistol rounds, but come back! However, that's very bad timing for Kaplan. He's going to get caught. Good work off the cam. We'll give information over. sSef with another. It's the Stinger trying to hold on. And Wardell is going to get the remaining kills. This is why this man is such a pain to play against, as he finds himself another multi-frag round and keeps them in it, because that's the thing. That was a round where, realistically, a 3 versus 2, even with the weaponry disadvantage, you'd still have given that over to Bloom.
Now it's interesting to see them sort of fluffing their lines a little bit. Like, it was super awkward from sSef here, who has been pretty much exceptional the whole series that we've seen so far. Certainly from a Cypher play to be this like aggressive and getting this many frags. It's not typical. You know, we sort of say this about like general Cypher players or support players. They're not meant to be getting frags. That's not their role on the team. It's like you're looking at football or soccer. It's like a defender scoring 4 games a match. That just doesn't happen because that's not the role that they're playing. So seeing sSef play this super aggressive style is super interesting to see. Wardell gets the first frag against Leak, so that puts him out. He's able to get a couple, and he's still going for it.
He's clearly feeling confident. The spray from Drone is wild, but he's still finding trades back. A little bit of extra damage, but Hazed is there to put down the remainders. 10-5. A strong position now for TSM. This is more what we expected to see, but there's definitely been some blips along the way. Well, in our other matches, we've seen some of the other teams be a little bit cleaner, I guess you could say. Sentinels taking their game 2-0, Gen.G doing the same. Of course, that was against Lemonade Stand and Built by Gamers, so those two are going to be facing off against each other later in the tournament. So that's a pretty beastly matchup that will be witnessed, I imagine, on one of the 2 streams. But for now, we stick with Bloom.
And instantly, the strong legs told us in chat, so thank you very much. Drop him a follow for being nice guy. Unless he's trolling us, and that's not how we say it at all, but that's very unlikely.
Wait, which was it? I missed it. I want clarity.
Insky.
Insky. Ski.
Even
okay.
though Sky,
Ski is
Ski.
Okay, good. So if it's wrong now, it's not our fault, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Drone, very
Strong
aggressive. But of course, he did use the run it back ultimate, so he gained some information, I guess you could say. However, this is looking like a much better round. The first proper buy we've seen from Bloom. Rifles in their hands. Phantom the many. Still multiple players in mid. It's a push from Hazed. sSef will gain 2. He seems to be a multi-frag specialist in himself, and that was almost used as bait on Drone. Oh yeah, we're resin, don't worry. Leek's got the angle. Well, it's this man again. It's down to Wardell. The first one is the easy one. That's the one he gets for free. Anything more, I think, would be a surprise. And in fact, I think for the first time, maybe in the match so far, we're actually going to see him just hold on to his operator. Doesn't want to go for this one. A B site after plant is not something you really want to be challenging, especially with an operator and with 4 players standing. You can understand that.
You just don't need to, right? Like, they have now going to be a 4-round lead. So they can play a bit more relaxed, a bit more passive in some cases. I think there's been a lot of cases because Wardell's been stuck in a lot of clutch situations where he has to make a play. So yeah, it is surprising to see him go, nah, I'm going to take a break on this one, guys. We'll go again next round. Because it has been so, you need to clutch up because Bloom are winning, you know? So it's been a bit more desperate on Haven. Now it's a bit more relaxed, and you can sort of start to see TSM shine a little bit more, that they don't have the pressure on their shoulders. But that was exceptional play from Bloom, surrounding pretty much on all angles on mid by TSM. And sSef and Leek are able to open up a bit of a doorway for them. Just need to do it like 4 more times.
Yeah. Easier said than done, I'm sure. It's also interesting to see, like, the way that on the aggressive side, I do think Cutler had a high amount of impact. Like, his smokes giving a lot of space. So you talk about that round where he was in the 2 versus 4 with Drone that just enabled them to take the site. I wonder how this is going to work for him on the defense. Because although I think it can work on B, especially with the dark cover and the paranoia to slow players down, however, it's not quite as effective as what you might see with a Cypher. Of course, Wardell, though, that's what I want to see. I spoke about being spoiled by Mixwell. Well, Wardell is in a similar bracket when you talk about players who can just take over a round, an aggressive peek into mid, and a position that was, or a point on the map that was so successful for them in the last round has now become a bit awkward because they've lost the first. This time they don't have the res available to them either. Well, of course they don't. Sage is dead.
Wardell, though, can't win that engagement against Roca. Gets a nice headshot and is just going to up the ante a little bit, try and push ahead. Subroza is there waiting for him in the bottom pits of the rope room. And the neural effect is going to be used on the attacking side to show up exactly where these defenders are. But look, because the balanced storm are symmetrical on either side, it's going to be difficult for Bloom to make a decision on where to go. They are going to push onto Heaven, but Hazed does a nice little crossfire, and Cutler using the paranoia to just buy a little bit more time for the Sage, who is anchored onto the site. It's going to take an engagement against Kaplan, gets the third, has control of the spike. Now sSef has it all to do.
He's triggered.
Doesn't have much time either. Rotation does come in. Hazed is just still surviving. He's done a fantastic job. Eventually he falls. The spike's been retrieved as well by sSef. He's going to get time. He's got it. This is going down with a second or 2 to spare. Rotation already coming in. The flames will burn him out though. And Drone makes sure that this doesn't get too far out of control. Probably being given information of where the operator is just to make sure that can be saved. He's got plenty of time. So he will still be able to get that defusal, no worries.
It's just another example again of like this should be a straightforward retake for TSM. They're in a 1 versus 3 and it goes down to a 1 versus 1 where Drone has to clutch it. The hot hands was good on the spike just to get a little bit of damage and pressure onto sSef, but by all accounts that Cypher should not have been able to push onto the site and get those 2 kills. TSM have really been pushed to their limits by this team, by very unconventional plays that they just do not expect. But luckily now I feel that TSM have a bit more of a grip on it, but it's still super close going down to the wire between both these teams.
I've got a pretty interesting update for you, and that is that China won their first map. 17-15 in overtime, so they are into the second one, but that means FaZe Clan's new roster's not quite gone to plan just yet. Of course, very, very new team, so I think we got to give them a little bit of time, but this is the FaZe Invitational, so we kind of have to expect big things from FaZe Clan. Hazed already just going to be denying extra spaces. It's going to be a pure rush into middle. A little bit of alert coming out from the Cypher of sSef, but other than that, the rest of the squad are all looking to fight for this real estate.
Wardell backing off, giving a lot of respect and space, but Leak is able to just commit to it. Insky gets a second kill. He's just carrying on, and Cutler's able to get a couple, but eventually just get traded by the Sage that we just mentioned. Subroza is going on a wild ring around the Rosy. Heat now onto Heaven, which maybe they're not expecting. So he's dropped down to the low ground to try and catch people off, but the positioning of Bloom is pretty good. A lot of angles to try and spot out, and Insky yet again wins that engagement against Subroza. Now it's for Drone. No ultimate, pretty much all of his utility, but an awkward retake that might just save. TSM had control of that. They wanted to fight on Heaven, had to back out a little bit, but the exceptional play there from Leak on the Jet just really opened up the site for them to explode onto. TSM couldn't keep up with that, which is surprising because they're the team that usually does it.
Yeah, I think the thing that's almost valuable, I guess, when you look at a lot of pro teams that utilize Jet, is not even the fact that, okay, the smokes, I think we could all agree in terms of smokes in this game kind of suck. Like, you just throw them somewhere, they stick, and then if you've missed it by a millimeter, you give them some space. Also, they don't last very long. But the dash is just so valuable. Like, the fact that it's not even like the kill he gets necessarily. It's the fact that everybody who is in Heaven or on the B site is instantly following that man, like tracking him elsewhere. And the rest of the team are just given so much space. It's almost like firing off a flare. Like, you have to look at it. You can't not look at it. So you may not be the one top fragging at the moment, but that was definitely a high impact play. Still 11-7 in favor of TSM. No doubt in the driver's seat, and Wardell looking to get cheeky once again. They've got to be careful for this, but he actually gets caught on the wall, so it's only going to be the trade. There's a res, the ultimate available. sSef though has just caught two players looking to push back through, so maybe that res isn't going to come up. Is it worth it anymore?
I know exactly.
Here's where the operator is going to catch off Kaplan, and the neural theft used on the attack is going to show that the defenders are all the way on B, so they can have a bit more of a quick pace pushing onto the site. In fact, Leak is going to push beyond that. The Resurrect now coming in to bring Wardell into a nice 3v3. Lightstorm is available for Wardell if he wants to use it. It's important to where Bloom hold here because they have to sort of gamble on them coming from a particular direction. But these two players that are pushing through Rope Room, they're going towards Heaven, could very easily pincer sSef that's holding in there, and very much dedicated on Hazed coming from this direction.
Oh, how does Hazed get both? That's a couple of rounds now where he's had multi-frags that might have just changed everything. insky waiting, but he can't do anything about it. That'll be a 12th round, and I sort of mentioned there was a moment in that where we were looking at a 4 versus 2. Was the res worth it? That's what I said, because Kaplan then goes down after. The res comes in from Hazed, and they manage to clutch out that round. So pretty much everything in that round comes down to Hazed, and he is having a very good game, a much better one than what we saw in the previous. Now, it's obviously worth noting that he is one of the more supportive members of this squad, and in the last map, there were still some like multi-kills that I don't think he should have got away with. That 4K pushing out of Garage was ridiculous. But in this game, he's had far more impact in terms of just his fragging ability, which, as said, it's not something you necessarily need a lot of the time with TSM.
No, and you should be relying on these players to do that, but now and again, these players need to clutch up. Leak is very much trying to force something there. Luckily, Roca's able to sort of add on it, and it just forces Resurrect a little bit early, but Drone is still able to get some frags in, meaning that this is now for 4 versus 4 with the ultimate Resurrect dedicated. Run it back doesn't catch too much, and Roca's pushing all the way into where he is now. Wardell's sat in the smoke. If Roca's not careful, he's going to catch him out. Both players weren't really expecting either of them to be there.
Oh, that's the ultimate not working out, and this might be the beginning of the end. It's left all onto Leak, and it's drone to close out the map. Not quite as close as the last one, but definitely still felt like it had a few swinging points, a few clutch rounds that easily could have turned this into a much closer affair. More importantly, though, for TSM, they do break back.